Hey folks, this is Waylon Lewis. It's been a little while since I've done these. Last week I think we only did 2 videos. Normally we do one every single day. So today I just live covered the second presidential debate. It's hard to even call it presidential given the context of these debates in this election. Where we're having one of the candidates threaten to imprison the other candidate, which is third world country, King Joffrey, dictator stuff. But as long as we have democracy, I'll use it. And let's talk about an important issue, which is Billy Bush. I feel like he's almost getting, beyond just getting some social media hate, he got suspended by NBC. I think there's a really powerful lesson in this for young men, particularly. I was once a young man, and I'm still probably young enough to find myself in this circumstance once in a while. So if you're just tuning in, this talk is for moms, for dads, for college kids, for anyone, but I particularly want to address young men. Because growing up, so here's basically something that I hope America and the world can remember and take out of this, which is a very powerful lesson that if we didn't get it in our parenting or from our friends, we can get it from, of all people, Donald J. Trump. So if you're just tuning in, say where you're from. It's always fun to see where people are from. Usually they're all over the world. And if you have any questions or comments, go for it. And I also really encourage people to check out my live coverage. It's under hashtag mindful debate on twitter.com/elephantjournal. I put a fair amount of love into it, and there's some good, helpful commentary. There's also just a lot of passing along good news, or good news sources, I should say, but I think you'll find it interesting, and we had our biggest night on Twitter in 5 years or something last night. So it's been really fulfilling to be able to be a reference point for some sort of sanity or mindfulness or empathy or caring about a larger worldview and about real human beings, about kindness maybe. And that's what Elephant is here for. So if you want to also support Elephant for free, elephantjournal.com/best. That's free. That's our online magazine. And if you want our best stuff, that's the place to get it. Hopefully Travis, who's the editor and on duty, can put that in the comments. So Karlyn, Phoenix and your teen son is listening now with me. Thanks, just spoke to him about this. So first of all, I do think we need to make this clear. So two lessons for we men. And this could apply to some women. I haven't been in, unlike Donald Trump, who brags consistently about when he owns the Miss Universe contest, there's literally quotes of him bragging about going backstage when they're all changing naked, just so he can kind of perv out and sexual predator it up and see them naked because he's the owner, he gets to do it. There's no other men back there. That's a quote from him. So, first of all, there's a huge difference between what he repeatedly claimed last night, and this is not about the election. I don't even need to get partisan on y'all. This is about us. This is about young men in America and not so young men who might find themselves in this situation. So there's a huge difference between, I've hung out with some girls who, in the Top Gun scene, where Tom Cruise and whoever else are all playing volleyball shirtless, the girls are like, oh, they're so hot, they're, la la la. So everyone is attracted to everyone. That's part of being human. There is a huge difference between being attracted to someone and expressing that, and kissing them without permission, grabbing them anywhere, in their breasts, in their butt, in their... it's amazing that I feel uncomfortable saying the word, and yet, a presidential candidate is saying the word, but grabbing them in their genitalia, we'll say. There's a beautiful TV moment just happened a day or two ago. I think her name is Anna Navarro. I could be forgetting, but she's a Republican. She's on CNN and she loudly and proudly says, pussy. She says, if Trump is saying it and you're still supporting him and you want me to not say it, what kind of hypocrisy is that? So here's the lesson for men and women, but maybe young men like who are in the Billy Bush situation. And to be clear, I think Billy was 33 or something at the time. There's no excuse. But it's not even young enough to excuse any kind of immaturity, right? But there's a huge difference between being attracted to someone, the sort of locker room talk saying, oh, she's so hot, he's so hot, I want to get with her, I think she's got a great butt, he's got a great butt, whatever, that kind of stuff, which can tend toward objectification, but it can also just be an expression of hormones and all that. That might be locker room talk, as many athletes, I just covered this in Elephant Journal on Twitter, many athletes are coming forward and saying, I, in all my years in locker rooms, have never heard the kind of sexual harassment, sexual assault talk that Trump is claiming is locker room banter. So last night, Anderson Cooper straight out came out and said, this is sexual assault. What you're talking about is sexual assault. Trump really had no response for that except for to say they were just words. And since there were words about his actions, I don't think they're just words, and that it's locker room talk. So, number one, it is okay to express your feelings about sexuality and about hormones and about attraction. It is not okay. Big line. It is not okay to talk about taking advantage of people, and it is another big line, really not okay to take advantage of people. This should be obvious, except that we have a presidential candidate who is has based his career on bullying people, on interrupting people, on pushing people around, on suing people. If you doubt the real threat to democracy when he says, I'm going to put you in jail, something that has never happened between presidential candidates. This is what a dictatorship would do. This is what tyrants would do. This is not what democracy does. He has sued hundreds of people and institutions over the years out of pushing them around. He loves it. And it's effective. It intimidates people. So for we young men, when I was younger, I was in the situation many times where I had mentors. So where I was in the Billy Bush situation and I had a mentor or I was just around some random older guys who talked about women in a way that I was uncomfortable with. I was raised by a single mom. I didn't even particularly swear. I like girls, I love girls, and was attracted to them and all that, but I never called them bitch. I never called them sluts. I never talked about them that way. So there were many times where I was around mentors and they thought I was cool because I was younger and I was dating. So there was that energy of they kind of thought I was cool and I kind of wanted to be cool or be just kind of play along. And they would say things I found that were really tacky and I didn't correct them. So when I kind of just went silent and kind of would leave, and I think there's this great article in the New York Times that talks about, is interviewing all these men about, have you been around these kind of situations? And the men consistently would say, yeah, it's not cool to talk like this. If I hear that, I basically just kind of shake my head and leave. But I think we can do a little bit better. We can use this Billy Bush moment to actually correct our mentors and say, hey, talking casually about someone as a bitch or a slut isn't cool. To be clear, there is, again, a huge line. I never, ever heard a mentor or any older guy talk about sexually assaulting women. And if I had, I would have confronted that. That would be equivalent to hate speech, or that takes it beyond sexism or homophobia into actual, like, you're harming people and this is, there needs to be consequences for this. So the fact that we have a again, a presidential candidate who has done this, and apparently there's worse on tape from The Apprentice, according to The Apprentice producer, is heartbreaking. There's so much anger in America right now. But if we just think about it and feel it as parents, as I think many Republican parents have over the last week, fathers and mothers, when you think about this, it doesn't make you angry, particularly. It does. But beneath that, it's heartbreaking. We're seeing the fabric of a society and community and a government and a commonwealth being ripped apart. We're seeing hate being made to seem okay. We're seeing sexism being made to seem kind of just casual and locker room banter. It's no big deal. We're seeing fear introduced in a very powerful way into our daily life. And here's the good news. As someone was saying, Trump is the fullest expression of this sort of old-fashioned kind of sexist, casual bigotry. There's so many examples. He's quoted as saying, "Don't invite the black Miss Universe contestants to these parties." He and his father would put C for colored on their or would have the managers of the apartments put C for colored on applications from African Americans for apartments in their apartment buildings. But this beautiful article I read recently is saying this guy is catalyzing a movement that is almost like a big pimple. I mean, this is worse than saying basket of deplorables, which is the oddest phrase ever, but it's almost as if we're putting together all this pressure, red, pussy, hatred, and sexism, and it's a moment nationally to kind of confront it and say, this isn't cool. It's not cool to be Billy Bush if you're around someone who's talking in a sexist manner, and it's certainly not cool if you're around someone who's talking about sexually assaulting women or men or anyone. And it's basically just none of this is cool. This is like a big NBC, rainbow thing. Is it NBC or ABC? Like, it's not cool, America. So that's about all I have to say. If you find yourself in a situation with an older person who is talking in a sexist or homophobic or racist way, if it's super casual, the very least you can do is not agree and not play along and not laugh like Billy Bush did. The very least you can do is kind of shake your head and leave. If it's anything more than that, if there's any kind of, they're talking about their actions, they're talking about their plans for actions, you need to confront it. We need to confront it. We need to make it, in junior high, in high school, we learn as kids, is this acceptable? Is this cool? Is this not? There's nothing cool about this kind of machismo. It's, as we know, bullies are cowards. Arnold Schwarzenegger, who has had his own difficulties being a moral human being in terms of women, came out and said, I can't endorse Trump, and talked about his own experience yesterday. There's some notion that, strong, gentle. In Buddhism, they talk about if you're strong, you can afford to be gentle. If you're truly strong, you can afford to be relaxed and meek. You don't have to cling to credit and blame everyone else. You're not at war with the world. You actually can just, so I was just playing volleyball with a couple elephant staff. We were on a staff retreat. We would work all day. We'd play a little volleyball before and after and jump in the sea. We were in Encinitas. And one of us was really good, Dave Rogers. He's played volleyball forever. And his whole thing is, as he's playing, he's far better than any of us. He's saying, if anyone messes up, he's like, my bad, my bad. And he's like, that was great. He finds any little thing that any of us did right. And he says, great job. That was great. Keep doing that. La, la, la. So in Buddhism, that's a profound principle. You drive all blames into one. You take responsibility, even and especially if it's not yours. And the point there is not to be a doormat for others, but the point is that you can kind of sit on the blame and then you can address the reality. And then number two, always be grateful to everyone. So you always extend compassion, love, affection, encouragement to others. And when you do those two things, you find that your own ego is kind of undermined and relaxed. So instead of pushing away blame and clinging to pleasure or clinging to love or clinging to anything we want, we can afford to relax and be kind and have a sense of humor about ourselves. So I hope this has been an okay thing to talk about. Often we'll talk about mindful life, tips, we have talked about domestic violence. We have talked about many serious issues. I try not to talk about partisan politics, but honestly, this goes beyond partisan politics, as we're seeing with hundreds of Republicans refusing to endorse Trump, and to any Republicans who are refusing to vote for Trump. I have to say that on the liberal side, if Trump had decided, and he's switched parties 6 times in the last 10 years or something, if Trump had run as a Democrat, I would refuse to endorse or vote for Trump. And I would, if on the other hand there was a more centrist, moderate Republican in Eisenhower, a Nixon without all the scandals, Nixon created the Clean Air Act and EPA, I would vote Republican this year. So this is really about being American, not in the patriotic sense, not in the belligerent patriotic sense, but in the sense that we are about democracy. We are about continually improving and bending the arc, as Obama and others say, toward justice. We have a lot of good stuff going on in this country, so please don't give up. Or if you're watching from another country, remember that LGBTQ rights have improved. Women's equality has improved. We have a long way to go in many areas, particularly immigrants, immigration, but we can't give up. And I think the healthy thing about Trump is that he's making us realize that democracy is a fragile present moment thing. It can fall apart. So we've been around only 200 years. We're a young nation. If we want to stick around and improve and be a true example of kindness to the world, I think we can do that. In moments, we're never going to be at all perfect, and we never have been perfect, to say the least. But we also have had many moments of justice and many moments of bending that arc of history toward kindness. So I honestly feel really hopeful. I don't think Hillary is perfect. I have written my endorsement, which we could put in the comments. But as Bernie says again and again and again, and my most popular tweet last night was, "I miss Bernie." Hillary has, thanks to Bernie and his supporters, the most progressive platform in history. And if we want to guarantee workable, affordable health care for all Americans, we can do that. Or we can scrap the whole system under a Trump or really any Republican. If we want to deal with immigration in a mature way, there was bipartisan legislation where Republicans and Democrats tried to work together to improve the system, and it got rejected by partisan hacks. We can begin to work together again. I don't hate Republicans. I respect Republicans. I don't respect bigotry. I don't respect sexual assault. But we can come together. There's a huge middle, and I think moderates have got a bad name lately. I'm a moderate. I can be extreme on certain issues, gay rights. I have no interest in compromising on some fundamentals like human rights. But generally, if we can come together and agree and compromise like a relationship, do the tough work of coming together, we are all in this together. And not just as Americans, but as a world, in a world with nuclear war, with nuclear weapons, and with the communicability of disease, with refugee crises. It is truly a small world. So, enough of that. Anyway, Jill Stein, Gary Johnson, there's a great article I read on that a month or two ago. I've talked about it. I respect anyone who wants to vote for them. That said, you're basically voting for Trump. That's just a mathematical fact, not really my opinion. That said, you're not voting for Trump, and I respect your vote. I respect your vote if you're voting for Trump. Anyone should vote their conscience. But in this case, I think it's imperative that we elect someone who is highly competent and has a great platform and isn't Trump. So I read a great article that said if you want a third party, and remember, a third party will not improve anything necessarily. Americans tend to think of like, oh my God, we get to three parties, everything will be great. But, you know, my mom lives in Canada. There's three parties. They split the Liberal vote year after year, and that's how Stephen Harper stayed in office. And Stephen Harper made George W. look popular. So nothing wrong with three parties, nothing wrong with two. Trudeau is now in Canada, which is fantastic, but three parties are not going to solve everything. That said, more choice is always great. And the way to support Jill Stein or Gary Johnson or the Libertarians or the Progressives is really just to build up the movement locally, run for city council, be a good neighbor, do your dishes, be in a good relationship, build local first. And then once you have a ton of city councils and state legislators, you can create a party. That's how the Republican Party was created in the, whenever it was. I think it was post, when was it, like 1860s? Any history majors here? Anyway, not that long ago. So that's my thing. So I'm going to go through all your comments. If there's any rude or horrible comments, we'll delete and block you forever. If there's any critical comments, that is welcome, as long as they're respectful. And if there's any questions, I'll also address those. So Amy from Salt Lake City, Akam from Iraq, big love to both of you. Let's give Akam some love for tuning in. I have no idea what time it is over there. By the way, this is by far the most popular video I've ever done, which is interesting. Maggie, Georgia, US, I'll assume. Mary Jean, Ottawa, Canada, Sharon, Michigan. Patty from Texas, San Antonio, Texas, Patty. Kimberly from Boulder, all right. I'm in Boulder. Harley from Oklahoma, Michelle from Texas, Mary from Ottawa. We got two Ottawans. Chicago. La la la, I can't read all of them. So Karlyn, let me know how I did. That was pretty rambling, but I hope I got to the part that's relevant to your teen son. And I can kind of more succinctly sum it up if you're still here, if you like. Gretchen, Washington. Kim Whalen for president. You say that now, but once I run, you know, I always say most of my own friends wouldn't support me because people want a sort of messiah. They want the president to be perfect instead of they want to vote for the best option, which we call the lesser of two evils. Most cynical saying ever. All right. Howdy from Austin, Texas. Love what you're saying. I'm a lifelong member of the Zeta Psi fraternity. Serve on our international educational foundation board and stay involved with our undergraduate chapter at UT, University of Texas. I was thinking that was Utah. I mentor a lot of our guys. Oh my God, this is a great comment. These are fraught times to be a young man. So many bad role models. Weird zeitgeist around the hookup culture. The concept of consent is front and center, but definitions seem to be shifting and confusing. It is. It's very confusing. Immature guys, of course, mock the seriousness of a lot of situations. My question for you is how we older guys ought to approach them in a way they can accept. Well, here is my answer to you, Jay. First of all, your question and your interest and your curiosity and your leadership is manifest in just asking the question. You're talking to a ton of young, horny guys and girls at college. So I always think I'm right on the university hill. This is the first time they've been adults, basically on their own. This is the first time they're as hot as they're going to ever be. Generally, they're young. They have some of their own money, or they're working, so they have some of their own money. They have independence, basically. you know, from out from under mommy and daddy. And there's alcohol and drugs everywhere. So what do you have? You have a big horny fest where those maybe who are on the, how can I be helpful here? So you have a ton of energy and a ton of lust, basically. And the main thing to communicate is it is so much more fun to get together with someone when it's fun, when it's mutual, when there's respect. Respect is a sort of cold word, but when there is, when you're seeing each other, when you're playing. I mean, sex without a mutual experience, even if it's not, even if there's consent, but it's just sort of like jackrabbit sex, that is not that fun. You can do that with yourself in the bathroom. You might as well. Get some porn on and go have fun with yourself. Nothing wrong with that. But if you're doing it with a human being, I had this Buddhist quote I always say, any fun, I forget what the exact quote is, but basically the best things in life, all the fun you can have in life, all of it happens in the present moment. So if you can be present with someone, that's magic. I wrote a book about this, things I would like to do with you. Just being present and seeing someone else, especially if they happen to be naked and they like you and there's a sense of humor and attraction, that is as good as life gets. So basically I would just say, if you guys don't want to miss out on the full fun of sex, you gotta make sure it's mutual and fun. It's kind of as simple as that. I don't know if that's helpful. I think I kind of blew that one. Any replies for Jay? But basically, just communicate that respect is fun. When you respect each other, then you don't just have horniness and attraction. You have some real, I mean, it's just so much more fun than kind of bad sex, let alone sex without consent. All right. Anyway, awesome question. Everyone, please give Jay some likes and love. If you've appreciated this video and you're still here, please give it some likes and love. Share it. Try and get it beyond the choir. That's incredibly powerful with Facebook. The algorithm is kind of boxing us in more and more. We've dropped 2/3 in readership in only 1 year. We're fine, but only because we've monetized the hell out of what we have left. If you like this, or even if you respect this and you disagree with some of it, please support it with likes, with shares. It actually is effective in the world of Facebook. The most powerful way to support Elephant is to get our online magazine free, elephantjournal.com/best. The second most powerful way is to subscribe. It's about $1 a month, elephantjournal.com/read. And if you want to check out my book, you're welcome to. It is about the Buddhist notion of love and relationships, and there is plenty of sex in that. elephantjournal.com/books. Alrighty. Molly, male voices for accountability. Thank you. Yeah, it is just so much more fun to have sex or to flirt when it's a mutual thing, when you're just being a bully on someone. I mean, mixing aggression, mixing cowardice with and aggression with sexual attraction and love is just the best way to ruin something. It's like taking an Eton mess. Does anyone know Eton mess? It's probably the only thing I miss as a vegan. Eton mess is like a Harry Potter-like dessert. It's like taking an Eton mess of sexual attraction and love and then just pooping in it with cowardice and bullying. It's just, you ruin the whole thing. So I don't know if I addressed the college kids that you're trying to talk to, but I definitely addressed the 2-year-olds just then. It's like pooping and awesome. All right, Allie from Dublin. Yeah, Billy Bush was the guy who was hanging out with Trump in the bus and laughing along. And ironically, he has been suspended, and there has been no consequences for Trump other than polls. Tamara, words matter. All thought creates form on some level. Amen. That said, you know, there's a huge line between talking about it and doing it, and Trump clearly was talking about doing it. Heather Bauer, it doesn't intimidate Hillary. She just smiles that beautiful smile and keeps rolling. Yeah, there was a lot of fear in that room and a lot of bravery in that room as well, and I really credit her for Just walking over, talking to the people in the audience. Trump is pacing back and forth or whatever behind her. It was intense. Alrighty. Of course we should be angry, but there's something more powerful than anger, is my point. We don't need to have anger feed anger, Heather. Beneath our anger is heartbreak, and heartbreak is actually more powerful. Immediately after 9/11, there was a ton of heartbreak. There was a ton of love in this country and in the whole world for this country, and that is powerful. When we then went to war kind of blindly, following preconceived agendas, that was less powerful. That created further hatred. Lots of great comments. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Constance, that seems like an incredibly confused comment. This was off air on a hot mic. It was not done for any public entertainment value. Zoe, nice hashtag. Waylon is woke. Yeah, there's nothing cool about being a perv. There's nothing cool about being a bully. There's nothing cool about being a coward and trying to get some sex by being a bully. There's nothing cool about bragging and laughing about sexual assault. Chance, amen. I feel that if a candidate had done this a couple generations ago, talked or presented himself in this manner, they would have been shunned or worse. But the good news here, Chance, is that we have had many presidents in the past who have done untoward things, and the press didn't really talk about it. So now we're all talking about it. It's all out there, and hopefully it's all being exposed, and we can support candidates who, even if they're not perfect by any means, they aren't fans of sexual assault, at least. That would be a good start. I don't know that link, elephantjournal.com/YouTube. Maybe that is a new link, but all our videos are on our homepage under Walk the Talk Show. Hetty, thank you for expressing things in actionable terms, actionable expressions. If you have any questions, please throw them in. Karlyn, sit on the blame and accept reality. There you go. Yeah, good comments from Chance. Karlyn, this is refreshing, uplifting. I need this right now. Awesome. Millie, basic human decency. That's what this is all about. I'm pretty sure Buddha was a democratic socialist. Yeah, even if he was, though, Karlyn, he wouldn't have been, viewed his views as one football team and everyone else is wrong. That's not helpful. Fran, that's also not helpful. We're doomed. We're not doomed. Yeah, a great comment from, I don't think I can say your name, but I'm going to try. Solbjort Gudmundsdottir. That's like a name out of Game of Thrones. I believe you can do it as a nation. Thank you, Solbjort Gudmundsdottir. All right, Michelle, we have to stand to look at him and at others. We have to face it, but we can face it with some sense of gentleness. We don't have to fall into hate ourselves. Leslie, well said. Compassion comes from our parents, family, neighbors, and community. It also comes from just empathy, from not rejecting our own sad or difficult experiences and connecting with others. Kim, we need to have a loving kindness party. I think, I'm biased, but I think we do. I think we have a progressive platform that cares about equal rights for all, that cares about health care for all, that cares about hopefully not going to war, let alone Twitter war over every little thing. Renee, thank you. Please continue to contribute more of these conversations. Yeah, we do them every day. God bless you as well. Clearly, we are better together from Tamara. Refreshing comments. Karlyn, I think it's important for young men to hear this from people other than their parents. Awesome men teaching boys through their experience will go a long way to fixing these issues. I lost a job defending a woman who was harassed. I sleep well at night knowing I did the right thing, but I paid the price. You might have paid the price, but as you said, Karlyn, let's all give her some love. You for the rest of your life can look at yourself in the mirror and feel good about who you are and what you did. And, just another message to young men out there. The most fun I've ever had with sex or with dating or with a relationship has always been founded on mutual appreciation, respect, and it's just so much more fun. It's awesome stuff, and you shouldn't ruin it by coming to it with cowardice or bullying or aggression. Jennifer, have I ever considered running for office? I have the integrity. I think this is what, thank you, I have many times, and I will, if Elephant is successful, I think, run for something, even if it's quote-unquote just city council locally. But that said, it's easy to say if someone has the integrity off of a video or a little moment. Those who actually jump into the mud and serve for, it's taken Hillary 30 years or 40 years to push up that glass ceiling and begin to break it. We'll have a long record, and that record will be full of good things and not so good things. So we just have to look for who they fundamentally are, and I think her service when she was very young points toward that. And I do support her. I was a Bernie supporter, but I gladly support Hillary, and I'm grateful that she's in this race. Imagine if we had the equivalent of 2 Trumps in this race. We'd be effed. Sarah, the hats are all at elephantjournal.com/hats. Thank you for asking. So Lisa, we talked about Billy Bush. Basically, when you're in the Billy Bush situation and you're around an older guy who's bragging about his sexual conquests or sexual assault, basically, it's not cool to laugh along. That if there's just kind of sexist talk, you can just kind of shake your head and leave. But if there's actually talk about action, about sexual assault, you need to confront that and possibly report, depending on what the situation is. That is no longer cool to just laugh along, and whether it's in a locker room or wherever else. Hey, Tombe. Wow. Greetings from Tombe, who's an unreasonable fellow in Sweden. Thanks for the Elephant Journal stickers, which I still have with me 4 years on. That is so cool. Tombe, I remember you well. I was a mentor in Unreasonable Institute. And if you are curious, you can search. Actually, Travis, maybe you could do this. Whalen Unreasonable Institute. And there's a whole bunch of videos with me talking with them. Build local first in terms of the third party. Teresa, amen. Marie, thank you. I appreciate your insight as well. Grace, it takes a village to make change. Change comes from unity among the people and a leader who's willing to be open and listen. Thank you, Tara Lynn. President Lincoln was beginning the Republican Party late 1850s. So I was within 5 or 10 years, I think. My mom would be proud. She's a history teacher. Joanne from Fiskerville, Pennsylvania. I love Pennsylvania. Anne from Columbus, Rhode Island. Carol. All right. Alexandra, Vancouver. Christopher Ray, Riverside. Hetty, great question. What do you read or watch or do in order to stay on the pulse of politics and world affairs? Elephant doesn't do a ton of political or world affair coverage. We used to, but we have some good stuff. I would recommend Elephant is hopefully a mindful or sane reflection or take on what's going on. But my main suggestion is just seek out good journalism. If it's biased, you can recognize that, but just find good journalism. New Yorker is great. It's pretty liberal, but it's also great. It's just great reporting. New York Times is fantastic. The op-ed page is liberal, but the actual journalism is just journalism, and it's great. There's not a lot of good journalism left. My main recommendation is find whatever you respect and subscribe. Pay for it. The Economist is great, a little more conservative. I would recommend read the New York Times. That's what I do every day. All right, lots of people from lots of places. Kat, you can watch the whole video. It'll be available on youtube.com/elephantjournal if we can put that link in the comments. Lisa from one of my favorite towns, Santa Barbara. Bill Shrum, Yay Tombe, and the Unreasonable Fellows. I know, I missed the Unreasonable Institute. Yeah, people always want a messiah, then they will tear him down, just like with Obama, just like with whoever. We want some perfect thing, and then we want to sit back and watch Netflix. But that's not how democracy works. We have to get someone good and competent in. We have to care about the Senate. We have to care about the House. We have to care about local ballot issues. We have to volunteer. Democracy is, as they say, not a spectator sport. We have to participate, and then America, then wherever we are in the world, can be a vibrant, happening, fair and just community from the local to the national and international. Lisa, you can watch the whole thing about Billy on youtube.com/Elephant Journal. Let's get that in the links. Jacqueline, is refreshing to see a man stand against rape culture. Can't agree with the rest there, but that's okay. We can agree to disagree about Jill Stein versus Hillary. Yeah, those men sounded like boys around a keg at a frat house, Billy and Donald. I was sad. Sadness is the correct response to that. Yeah, Alyssa, basically that there's nothing cool about pushing yourself on someone else when it's not wanted. When it's mutual, it's so much more fun. It takes two to create the fireworks that is real sexual fun and real love fun. And my book is all about that, but I don't want to plug stuff too much. But elephantjournal.com/books. Yeah, Karlyn, Buddhism is good stuff, but you don't need to become Buddhist. Just do whatever your thing is fully. Susan, I love your book and your honesty, and thank you for this as a mom of two boys. Yeah, boys are the best and moms are the best, and yeah, there's a link to my book right there. Wendy, just tuned in. I was raised by a single mom. I was raised with respect for women, and it's just a lot easier to have respect for whomever you're trying to date. There's less drama. There's less aggression. There's probably less depression. There's less hate. And hate and love really just don't go together. So if you want to have love and sex, you don't want to dampen it with all this aggression, hate stuff, sexual assault stuff. It just fucks it up. So excuse my French. But even from a personal point of view, I want to have great sex. I want to fall in love. Bullying doesn't work. Sexual assault doesn't work to get you either. It just doesn't work. It breaks the electrical conduit, It's like saying, if you want to plug something in and you want to say, I want sex, or I want love, or I want both, how am I going to get it? Well, if you're going to try and get it with bullying and hatred and sexual assault, it just won't plug in. It won't work. Whatever, All right. Bill, Elsa Cardona, as a boy previously standing around a keg at a frat house, Billy Bush and Trump wouldn't have been welcome in our house. High five to Bill, and Bill works with Elephant, and that is beautiful. Nathan, thank you for promoting decency. It worries me that my daughter, who's just turning 5 years old this week, might grow up in a Trump presidency. She already asked questions about him and why he says or does what he does, and it's painfully sad. We owe it to future generations to have high standards of decency in public office. That's a beautiful comment. Man, Nathan, let's all give Nathan some love for being a caring daddy and love to your daughter. I mean, again, the only silver lining here, assuming, which I cannot assume that Trump loses, but if Trump does lose, is that he's raised this culture of bullying, of cowardice, of rape, of sexual assault. He's raised this culture right in front of us. It's in the news. We aren't pushing it aside. We're not able to with him. We are not able to ignore it. So now we have to face it. So what do we do with it? We have to make it clear that it's not okay. And beyond that, it's not okay. It doesn't actually work. It doesn't get you what you want. It's not good business. He leaves a trail of broken agreements behind him. If you want to be a successful business person, if you want to be a lover, if you want to have great sex, do it by being genuine. Do it with integrity. Do it without trying to F people over. Alexander, hey, my man, I have no clue who you are, but you've gained a loyal follower. Haha, much love from Ohio. I love that. Alexander, thank you. I'm the founder of Elephant. It's been around 14 years. We reached almost 30 million readers last year. We're still at around 10 million. We're independent media. If you want to support indie media, elephantjournal.com/read. You can read unlimited, and it's about $1 a month. Nathan Kendrick, again, gorgeous, beautiful comment. Heather Blake, we need more like you, and you, and you, and you. You get a decency, and you get a decent heart, and you get to be caring. I'm trying to do Oprah. Susan, yeah, I think my next book, actually, I've been thinking about, I have to sell this first book first, so Elephant doesn't go out of business, but my next book I want to write, and the first book has sold really well, but we can't get national distribution because we're not yet a real publishing company. So we're just selling it through elephantjournal.com/books. And locally, we're selling it at a couple bookstores that have been very sweet and supportive. It's been a bestseller now for 9 or 10 months straight, which is crazy, at a Boulder bookstore. It actually fell off the bestseller list for a couple weeks and then got back on and is now back up. It's crazy. That's without really any support. But the next book I want to write is for my future children. And it would be kind of stories from lessons that I've learned in my life that I hope they can learn, kind of learn in a more easy, quick way instead of learning the hard way. Karlyn, you're cracking me up with my on-the-spot quotes. Well, that's good. I hopefully will capture some of those quotes and share them on Instagram, because we're always sharing stuff on Instagram.com/elephantjournal or /Waylon Lewis. We have a couple other accounts. Natasha, we need to teach our children both what women should expect and how men are to act. Amen. And I don't know that Trump is the man to do that. But he's the man to do that, to teach us what not to do, perhaps, which can be helpful. Karlyn, action is more powerful than anger, but anger gets things rolling, I guess. Yeah, we just don't want to go to war. In Buddhism, they say aggression feeds aggression. So the proper response to aggression isn't further aggression, it's sadness and then brave, sane action. Hetty, people need to have examples, or Hetty, need to have examples of how to be part of the solution. Thank you for articulating yourself, smiley face. Thank you. Rainey, amen. This whole thing made me see how much work needs to be done to elevate the thinking of Americans. So thank you, Trump, for showing us how far we have to go. Jenny, Billy Bush is a sycophant who panders to celebrity. He should have manned up and disagreed with what was being said. Exactly. As I started off talking, it's one thing to say, I'm attracted to this person, I'm attracted to that guy, I'm attracted to that girl. It's a totally separate thing to say, I kiss people without permission, I grab people in their genitalia or in their breasts or the butt or whatever without permission. Totally different. You continue and say, he should have manned up and disagreed with what was being said. I have 2 boys. I want them to know they can and should speak up and say, hey, that's not cool to say. Amen. What you are saying, what I am saying is wrong. We need our boys to know it's okay and a show of strength to speak up. I think that's what I was saying. I'm not supporting Billy Bush. Jenny, just watch the video. I'm specifically saying it's not cool to go along with that kind of sexual assault talk. So I think we're on the same page. Leanne, I don't think I'd be doing a video in front of a couple million people saying sexual assault is cool. But even if it's a sort of obvious topic, the fact that it's so mainstream in the world means that we have a long way to go. We have to make it clear that it's not okay. So if you agree with that, maybe give it a like or a share or a weird smiley face. Give us an emoticon. Let's all come together and say, we want respectful, fun, consensual, mutual sex and love, and that's better anyway than the bully, coward, sexual assault version of just trying to get it and suck your way into getting some sex. It doesn't work, basically. So if you agree with that, please give it a like or a share. It actually is effective with Facebook's algorithm, and more people will see this. Mia Sosa. I just sat down yesterday with my teenage daughter and watched Audrey and Daisy on Netflix. I'm not familiar with that. I watched it because I feel she needs to know the dangers out there. I think all young adults should watch this documentary, Mia from Boulder Creek. So there's a great suggestion. I don't know it, but Audrey and Daisy on Netflix. Natasha, like Hillary said, we are good people. We are better together. America has come so far, and it comes from empathizing with those whose shoes you have never walked in. Something like that. Susan, men teaching boys. Thank you. Thank you to you. Araceli, beautiful name. Never heard that. It is rewarding when one sees the dignity in their partner. There's nothing more fun than seeing your partner as an equal, as a match. Then there's real, positive, sexy friction. That's what my book is all about. The match, the notion of match. And for there to be a match, there has to be equality. There has to be seeing the other person as a human being. Matthias, nice quote. T, sadly, bullying begins as a child and only manifests as cowards get older. Bottom line is we have a long ways to go. Of course we have a long ways to go, and let's go there fast. Sort of like saying we have a big road trip ahead of us. Let's go, let's start moving, and let's have some fun. Let's get some healthy snacks in there, get some water. Road trip time, get some coffee. Let's go. Fran, we need to find a way for all of us to come together to combat this locker room talk. As a woman, I am not shocked by this, as I have heard and seen this. We are just now seeing it on a macro level. Exactly. We need these conversations. We need to stop playing this off as just talk. It is not talk, and this is real. Yeah, one of my fears, and why I wanted to do this video today, one of my fears is that this will just become part of the news cycle, and that we'll have forgotten about it. We'll have moved on in 2 days, and we'll be back to kind of the, busy Netflix kind of speedy life, and who's going to win, la la la. It is not okay to have a presidential candidate talking gleefully about sexual assault. That is not part of my news cycle. That is not part of your news cycle. This is a lasting moment. We have to grab onto it and learn from it, and help our children learn from it, and help voters learn from it. And again, if I were a Republican and Trump were running as a Democrat, which I could easily see, he's been a Democrat many times, I would not vote for him, and I would vote for, say, Jeb Bush. I would. I don't support 90% of what Jeb Bush wants to do, but I'd vote for him. Or maybe I'd vote third party. But in any case, I'd want to defeat Trump, so I'd have to vote for Jeb. All right. Yeah, well said. Araceli. Also, Billy continued the joke when they left the trailer, asking the woman to give Donald a hug. And then he continued it further. They're walking along, and he's saying, which one of us would you date? If you had to date one of us, which one of us would you have dated? He was being a facilitator. It was just a big brown nose fest. Brown nosing is okay if you're trying to, get your B- to a B+ in school from your teacher. Brown nosing is not okay when you're facilitating someone talking about sexual assault on an unwitting human being. It's okay. From Mos Ahmed, it is okay to talk about locker room when you are in high school, but at the age of 59, I was saying things like that. If I was saying things like that, I would never count myself as a person who ever had any respect for women. I can't believe there are women who defend him about his comments. There's always going to be people who defend people's craziness, but they probably have other reasons. They want Trump to get in some conservative Supreme Court nominees. I mean, I get it, but it's still, as you say, not. Love to you, Brinia. It's not okay. Ali, great comment. I mean, I do think this is a moment when even Trump supporters or reluctant Trump supporters are kind of saying this isn't cool. I think almost all Americans believe this is not cool. This is beyond the pale. Amy, thank you. I'll take that. I'm much less awesome once you get to know me, though. Fair warning. I'm really awesome for about 2 weeks, and then, NPR radio. So there's a good suggestion. Karlyn, NPR, and also BBC. It's fantastic. two other great things. Wendy, no DAPL, DAPL. Stop the Dakota pipeline. Amen. Wendy, you don't have to just throw that into comments. We have a bunch of articles about it. You can contribute your own article about it, and we'll feature it to our 10 million readers a month. elephantjournal.com/write. We'd love to feature that. So a comment won't do too much, but I appreciate you putting it in there. And I just discovered that Shailene Woodley, the actress, tweeted something about Elephant or my book, and that kind of made my day. And anyway, the point being is that she's been a really effective Bernie supporter. She's on the board of his nonprofit coming out of his campaign, and she's been super active in trying to stop the Dakota pipeline, working with some local activists called the Earth Guardians. Anyway, pretty cool. I had no idea about her and all her activism. So it's nice to see, my idols are like Paul Newman, Robert Redford, actors who used their fame to create good. In Paul Newman's case, the Hole in the Wall gang camps. In Redford's case, independent cinema, supporting artists. And it's cool whenever you see people leveraging their fame for something good. La la la. Yeah, BBC is awesome. You can always rewatch the video. What am I smoking? From Henri Picard. Henri Picard. I don't know what I'm smoking. I was smoking some amazing coffee from Kicking Horse. But if you have a point or a question or a criticism, go for it. Rachel Swoon. Who's the swoon about? I'm going to just assume it's about me. Carly, there's always some unrest before great change. Yeah, again, it's the big pimpleization of sexism and bullyization, and we're just going to pop it. It's, positive way, it's good to see all of this hanging out to dry. Sending some love to our American friends during this crazy time. BJ, we need a blanket movement of progression toward kindness and love. Juan, you're so funny, you get it and you get it. LOL. The most alarming, disturbing thing is the lack of kindness. Make America kind. Amen. Yeah, all our hats are at elephantjournal.com/hats. Please get them. We put some love into them. And they include a donation to Mustangs to help adopt and rescue Mustang horses. Good cause. Oh, Joanna, just a quick comment. Take your time on comments like that, as I want to let you know I absolutely love your book. Every page touches my heart. Thank you. I tried to put a lot of love into it. Yes, what Juan Rodriguez is saying, yes, turn the tough stuff into positive lessons. Amen. From a Buddhist point of view, we want to... we don't want to ignore the tough stuff. We want to raise it up. So in a way, this is all healthy, and now we just have to do something positive with it. We have to get the positive lessons. As Oprah or Ariana Huffington would always say, this is a teachable moment. Karlyn, sorority girl here, we Greeks did not endorse this bad behavior either. Yeah, we particularly need the frats and sororities to really take a stand and say, this is not what we're about. And also sports stars, as they are on Twitter. There's this big thing with sports stars saying, this is not cool, we're not into this. Sorry, my phone is dying. Let me plug in. Because I've been blabbing forever. We're about to wrap up with 2 minutes of meditation. But I just am trying to get to everyone's comments and questions. And I understand if people have to leave and get bored, but I try to get to everyone's comments. All right. From Karlyn. We called guys out all the time and protected the young, naive girls all the time. No one left behind was our motto. Good for you. Don't believe the news stories. They are rare. Character was taught in our system. We fought bad parenting when these kids got to college. Many frat boys, sorority girls were set straight by me and mine. Karlyn, everyone should give Karlyn some love. And any frat brothers and sorority sisters who stand up for, how did you put it? No one left behind. I love that. Just really taking care of each other. Oh, Jenny, sorry, dude, I wrote that wrong earlier. We are on the same page. Good. Whew. It'd be scary if I were on a different page than you on this one. All right, Caitlin, people need to be reintroduced to the definition of politeness. Please, how about everyone leave a comment right now before we tune out? Leave 3 or 4 words. Say, this is my aspiration for what America can learn, what the world can learn from this kind of, this moment, this Billy Bush, Donald J. Trump sexual assault moment. What can we learn from it? Just give a couple words. Juan, correct. It is not okay to have that talk. Teach our children. Children listen. Michelle, married 30 years to an amazing man, husband, father, and my best friend. Exactly. True love is going to be founded on best friendship. And great sex, by the way. So Michelle, congratulations. Lisa Lou, absolutely, as much as we need to teach young women to respect themselves, young men must be taught to do so as well. Shared your video. Let's turn this generation of people around to the idea of being on the same team. Exactly. Violence is not acceptable. Exactly. We're on the same team. That is so great. You can have just as much sex and love by being respectful and by being kind and treating someone like an equal and a human being who has thoughts and feelings as you ever could by being Attila the Hun or some sort of Genghis Khan bully. In fact, as all of you are hopefully thinking right now, you can have far more, because if you're a bully and you violence your way into sex and love, you're not gonna get it. You're not, even if you get sex, like through rape, which is an intense thing to discuss, it's not gonna be fun. Sex is so much better. Sex is like the best thing ever when it's mutual and it's fun, and when it comes out of best friendship or love. And you just can't get there from here. You can't get there from sexual assault. You can't get the good stuff. Rainey, my fear is this will be swept under the rug and nothing positive will come from it. We must teach respect for others to young people in order to make it a societal norm. Amen, Rainey. That's my fear as well. That's a positive fear. That's a fear we should have. And I think that's what this video is about. So if I haven't totally effed it up, please share this or like it or whatever. Susan, although it sickens me as to the behavior, you are right as to the awareness. I have 2 daughters who I have raised to respect their bodies and only accept that in return. I would never want my experiences with locker room behavior to be the norm for them, whereas horrible experiences, it was looked at as, oh, well, it is what it is, get over it. Yeah, none of this is casual or okay. Billy Bush has 3 daughters. Wow, that's really intense. Hopefully it's a really positive moment for him. You know, I wish him the best, where he can really wake up and realize this kind of stuff is not good for America. It's not good for him. It's not good for children. It's just not good. It's not okay. Yeah, from Sarah, it's not okay when you're in high school either. Of course not. But we can say that, but it really isn't. So good on you. Alyssa, a few silver linings for me from this incident. Men like you, my boyfriend, other men in my life who are as disgusted with this as much or more as I am. Amen. Hopefully, this is definitely a moment for men to speak up and say, this is not acceptable, as we're seeing on Twitter. Juan, let's take opportunity to teach our children and also to learn from them. Amen, Juan. Billy Bush, Matt, was the guy who was laughing along and encouraging Trump on that bus. There's a tape where Trump was discussing kissing women without permission, going after a married woman. This is all when he was married to Melania and she was pregnant with their son Barron, who's great at cyber, by the way. Natasha, I asked my son, would he want this to happen to me? His response was, no, it's disgusting and not right. I told him to always treat, wow, that's beautiful. Natasha, please write an article about that. I told him to always treat girls and women in the way he would want me to be treated. Single mom raising a caring son. Well, my single mom raised, hopefully, a caring son. Big love to you, Natasha. elephantjournal.com/write. Please contribute that. Or elephantjournal.com/submit. Lisa, Billy Bush is the father of 3 girls. Yeah, there's the link from Travis. Thank you. Bodhisattva Senroy came across this video while scrolling through and stayed on for the empathy. This is what America needs now. In fact, all of us do. Love from India. Love to you from America. Judith, yeah, I already addressed that with John Kennedy. Obliquely, I said far worse has happened. Although I can imagine that Trump has done far worse than he's on tape talking about. But it just hasn't been public. So yeah, this is not a partisan thing. This is about human beings, respect for women, respect for sex, respect for love. And respect is not a cold word. Cold word. It is a warm word. The only way to get great sex or love is with respect. Juan, thank you, man. Yeah, you can rewatch or you can watch all the videos on youtube.com/elephantjournal. And I have many shorter ones that are more focused than these. How many women has Redford married? I'm not sure. I think he's married right now, and I think he had a wife before. But I'm not sure what your point would be there. Judith, we need to stop encouraging this in music and entertainment. Yeah, it's not cool. The whole sort of pool party, let's F with the biatches and the, I don't want to say all this stuff, but it's just not cool. Yesterday I was watching a video and it was completely about that. It was just having your way with hot girls who, at least in the video, they wanted it. But, it's this sort of male fantasy thing. Obviously, what Trump was talking about was kissing, grabbing people who didn't even pretend to want it. So he's making music videos look like bastions of consensuality. Amen, Terry. The entire video is disgusting and disappointing that Billy Bush went along with it. That's what this video is about. Don't go along with it. Don't let it continue, as Terry says. Lead by example, as Brenda says. America can learn to be kind, as Juan says. We are more than our words. Fran. Yes, Rita, treat women as people, not just objects to lust after. The golden rule, as Carol reminds us, do it unto others as we would do unto ourselves. Consent is everything, as Amy says. Lead by example. Lots of great comments. Oh, so these are all your aspirations. This is great. This is beautiful, folks. I wish we could copy-paste all these comments and put them on the YouTube video. Oh. Facunda, elephant is great from Buenos Aires, Argentina. America is great, but please remember America is also Central and South America. Amen. I have to stop calling it America. We're so used to that. We're just part of America. All right. I think we've done plenty. There's beautiful comments. Travis, if there's a way to copy-paste these into the YouTube, please do. Into the YouTube video. So most of our views, we have almost 5 million views are on YouTube. YouTube.com/elephantjournal. Please subscribe. Thanks for sticking with us. I'm going to meditate for 2 minutes, so if you'd like to stick around, we'll do that. So let's see if I can prop this up. And I'll read something hopefully helpful. This is from one of my favorite books, Training the Mind. From our point of view, you are not basically condemned. Your naughtiness is not necessarily regarded as your problem, although it is witnessed, obviously. You are not fundamentally condemned. Your temporary naughtinesses are regarded as coming from temporary problems only. Therefore, to follow up on that, the slogan says, always maintain only a joyful mind. It is, all right, I'm going to start at the beginning. Always maintain only a joyful mind. The point of this slogan is continually to maintain joyful satisfaction. That means that every mishap is good because it is encouragement for you to practice the Dharma, the truth, gentleness. Other people's mishaps are good also. You should share them and bring them into yourself as the continuity of their practice or discipline. So you should include that also. It is very nice to feel that way, actually. So this continues for a while. But the point of this is that whenever we do something bad, whether it's a small badness or a big badness, as like one we've been talking about, it's actually something that we shouldn't ignore. We should almost bring it up and highlight it. It's good that we can expose it and learn from it. So that's perfect for today. So those of you who want to stick around, let's meditate. So let's take a good posture. You can kind of move on your sit bones until they're relaxed. And let's bow to one another. I bow to you everywhere in the world. Actually bow right now. Bow to one another. And bow to yourself. May it be of benefit. May we create peace on earth. Let's take a great posture, no matter how stiff or bent over we are, and then relax. You can tuck your chin in lightly. Find your breath in and out. So let's focus on our breath lightly for a couple minutes. This is Buddhist shamatha meditation. Breathe in, breathe out. If you have a thought like, oh, I should be telling people we do these videos every day at 9 a.m. MST, you can label that thinking. Thinking, that's just insecurity, that's speediness, that's mindlessness. Label it thinking and return your attention to the breath. As many thoughts arise, you can label them thinking and return your attention to the breath. And what this does is, as we've been talking about for the whole time, this enables us to retrain our minds to be present. And the present moment is where anything good that has ever happened to us has happened, including sex, including love. So it doesn't come from bullying, it doesn't come from sexual assault, it comes from being present and seeing someone else fully with empathy as an equal, with kindness. We conclude with a bow to one another. So thank you. If you've enjoyed this at all, please give it a like or a love or a comment or a weird emoticon face. That actually is effective in Facebook's algorithm in helping this video get out beyond the choir to all those who don't yet give a care. So if we can get a couple hundred likes, that would really help this video get beyond, just the choir. So thank you so much. Sheila, all these videos are on youtube.com/elephantjournal. And big thank you to everyone. I'll scroll up really quickly and see if there's any final comments. Sam, you can watch the video. Nadia, of course, and you should read the blog about Maitri. Travis, if you can put the blog Maitri for Nadia. Respect is given when you respect yourself, of course. That is true. Melissa, this is an important message to our daughters as to what is acceptable, and our sons how to respect women. Amen, and thank you. I'm glad. I'm just hoping to serve that. Melinda, amen. We endorsed Hillary long ago when it was not popular at all, and hopefully it's becoming clear that it's not only about popularity, but it's a necessary thing. I was a Bernie supporter, but I'm enthusiastically following his lead and supporting Hillary at this point. Aw, Lizzie, my son, 13 years old, said I should comment, then he left to play with a friend. That is healthy behavior. He should not be watching an hour-plus long Facebook Live video. He should go play. That's his way, Lizzie continues, of saying this is a good discussion. I hope we can meet you sometime, Waylon. Amen. Serena, he did say without permission. He said going up to women and kissing them, you can get away with it when you're famous. He said grabbing them by the pussy. He was incredibly clear. Please listen to that tape. But in any case, yeah, no one should be doing this without permission. So on that level, I'll agree with you. Anna, beautiful comment. What the world could learn is to see women as people too. We aren't just the sidekick in some man's story. I feel sorry for the men who can't really value women for all of our... And then it continues, I can't tell. All right, beautiful comments, folks. Thank you so much, and we'll do this again tomorrow. Yeah, so Taylor, that's exactly what this video is about, that when there is a power, like with Billy, Bush, and Trump, it is not okay, and we have to stand up for our own power and say this is not okay. So at the very least, walk away and don't condone it, don't laugh along, don't encourage other women to fall into it. And if actual sexual assault is being talked about, you have to confront it. We just have to step up. And then we can experience some bravery, which is great. Yeah, read that blog on Maitri. Sharon, can't concentrate on breathing and typing at the same time. That is good. You shouldn't. Multitasking is overrated. All right, folks, thank you so much. We're out of here.